Congratulations, you got a job interview. Now what? Hi, I'm Leah Metha, and today I'm sharing with you tips for how to find and prepare examples to use in a job interview. These days, most interviews have a behavioural style of interviewing. And what that means is that rather than asking you generic questions, they're likely to ask you for specific examples to demonstrate your experience. So it might be questions like, tell us about a time you've had to communicate a difficult message under pressure, or tell us about a time when you've had to manage competing priorities and how you went about that. Now, they're not trying to trip you up, even though it might feel like it. The reason they ask for specific examples is because a lot of organisations have been burnt in the past by hiring people who can talk the talk in a job interview but not walk the walk in practice. So they ask for specific examples because the best evidence for what you would do in the future is what you've done in the past. So you want to come to an interview with a whole heap of examples that demonstrate key points, but you don't know what they're going to ask. However, you get a good indication by looking at the job ad and the position description. In the position description, if there are selection criteria, the questions will usually be related to that. And in the job ad, those dot points, they give you a good idea. You can pretty much guarantee there'll be a communication question on there somewhere. So look everywhere for your examples, work, school, home, volunteer, sport. Really think, what example helps demonstrate this skill best for me? And really try to bring it down to one specific example where you can. Once you've got your examples, the next step is to make sure you can put that example to something called the STAR framework. Now, the STAR framework is a great way to help you prepare your example for a job interview, but it also helps you stay on track in the moment when you're feeling nervous and under pressure in the interview. What is it? It's where you focus on talking about the situation to provide some context. You don't want to get bogged down here though. That's a common mistake people make. Just enough information about the situation to provide that context. Then you want to talk about the task. What is it that you had to do? This step here, the action, this is where you want to spend the most time for your answer. What action did you take? What did you do? And importantly, why did you do it? You're explaining your thought process because that shows the employer, that you did have a strategy or have some thinking behind the action that you took. And then the last step, the result. And of course, you want to make sure that it was a positive result. So let me give you an example. Let's say the situation was your school doesn't have recycling bins in any of the classrooms. It doesn't have a recycling system. So that's your situation. It's quite short, okay, quite quick. The task was you believed that it was a really important step for the school from both an environmental perspective, but also setting a good example that you had some sort of system in place. So you took on the task of advocating for the introduction of a system to the principal. The action that you took, okay, this again is where you talk through what you did and why. So you might talk about how you knew the principal was really busy and would need a serious case to consider it. So you did the work beforehand, creating some key messages and a bit of a proposal about how you think it could work. That you then booked a meeting with the principal to go through your proposal with them and left them with the key document. Perhaps the result of that action was that the principal went away and considered it, came back and said, yep, let's implement this system. Now, obviously a made up example, but you can see by me talking it through this framework, I'm clearly demonstrating the action I took and how it worked out in the end. So, any example you have, make sure you can talk through all 4 steps in the STAR framework, prepare them, take them into your job interview, answer them beautifully, and nail that job. Cheers.